Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here with us on NACTV. I'm Eoin Devereux with the Banner Press, welcoming you to this week's edition of the program. And on this week's edition, I am joined by fellow journalist Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you here for this week's jam-packed edition of the newspaper.
Good to be here, and yeah, jam-packed it is. I mean, we have a full 20 pages this week, and there sure is a lot of news in there. I'm excited to cover it all on today's show. Well, not all of it, but as much as we can.
Okay, and we're going to get right into that because there's a lot of positivity that we're going to be able to share with you, and a lot of interesting things behind the scenes of this week's edition that we're going to give you a little sneak peek on. But first, as always, it's best to start on the front page. And Casper, you've got that story. It's an intriguing story we've been following for quite some time. The development of the Squirrel Hill Trail Park out over in Minnedosa. And you had an opportunity recently to head on over and see it for yourself.
I sure did. It was fantastic, I must say, to be out and about in the gorgeous community of Minnedosa once again for this momentous occasion, because it was the grand opening finally of the Squirrel Hills Trail Park. They did a lot of new developments over the past 5 years for that recreational area to develop, of course, the trails and add some new features and highlights and upgrades to that, as well as developments of their new trailhead. And I have to say, it was very impressive showing up there and seeing everything in person, because I've seen some sneak peeks kind of online here and there from Valley Life Recreation, but seeing it in person, it really does wow you in my mind. I mean, what a great first impression. They put in a lot of work in that. But yeah, it was a great day on July 12th there for the opening, seeing all the new fixtures and all that, and learning more about what happened behind this. A bit of the history, of course, because the Squirrel Hills Trail Park did exist before as the Squirrel Hills Recreational Area. It was first established in 1991, so actually next year is going to be 35 years of this place existing. And I mean, it had just such an amazing turnout, and lots of people turning up there to support the grand opening and check out what the Squirrel Hills Trail Park is all about. And there were some emotional moments as well, because there was, of course, the Hay family there, because they were there for the official opening of the Ollie Hay Skills Park, which is a feature within the new trailhead for people, young and old, just looking to brush up on their skills and practice a bit before they head out on the trails. I
don't want to turn this into a sort of a more downtrodden sad, but for those of you that maybe are unfamiliar, Casper, if you can walk us through a little bit about the Hale family and their connection to it and what it means for the community in general. Obviously that this is so important that they spotlight it like this.
Absolutely. So yeah, to give a bit of background there, Ole, he was a young gentleman who was very into, getting outdoors and recreation, whether it's running or biking or what have you, and so was a very huge supporter of the Squirrel Hills Trail Park. Was out there very frequently and out to different communities, of course, as well, just engaging in those activities. And he knew that there was going to be plans for developing this area in Minnedosa. Unfortunately, he did pass away at a young age in 2021, so he didn't get to see it come to fruition. But his family, of course, hopped on board with Valley Life Recreation and started collaborating with them more to put something like this together.
It's very unfortunate that someone who was such an enthusiastic supporter of the opportunity to create the trail park and expand upon it wasn't able to see it for themselves. But it's wonderful that the community in general, though, saw that and wanted to support them and the family, and it meant something to them. And you talked before, while we were putting the story together, you said, Casper, it was very emotional and all that. There were very few dry eyes at the ceremony.
Yes, and mine included, I must say. Dave Tournier, he is the board chairperson for Valley Life Recreation. He started giving the introduction for the family there, and I've only had the pleasure of meeting him a few times, but he's a very passionate individual and my impression of him is that he's very much hard on his sleeve. And so he was like just getting in there and he started like tearing up, and then I started tearing up. I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to write notes, I'm trying to take pictures, and I'm like, oh, get back in there, tears. Not right now, it's work time. And poor fellow, he had to get one of his fellow board members there to come up and read the rest off for him, and some very tearful hugs were exchanged with a presentation of commemorative plaque to the family, and the family gave speeches as well to open up the Skills Park.
That's so important to be able to share some of this information with you, because again, this is not about the stories themselves. These are about the aspects of putting together these stories on a weekly basis, and we try and share as much as we can with you, and this is part of it. We try and be as unemotional to the topic as we can. We can't take, for the most part, we can't take sides when we're writing this story, even though we're human, and we do take sides when it comes to political stuff. Boy, do we. But we can't put that into the story. That's what our opinion pages are for. That's what page 4 and page 5 are all about. You can have your opinion there, but we can't have our opinion on any others. So we've got to try and play it down the middle. But we're still impacted by these things. Casper just shared that they were very emotionally connected to this in terms of that. And that happens to us as writers. It's happened to me on occasion, and I'm dead inside. So for it to happen to me, for a normal person like Casper, obviously that's sort of something that's going to occur. So it's wonderful to have that experience, and it's wonderful to be able to share that experience, not just for ourselves, but to be able to share it with you, the reader, and the viewer right here on NAC TV. And that's why we do hope that you're going to take a few minutes of your time, check it out. You can find it on page 1. It continues on with some additional pictures and some additional information inside the pages of this week's Banner and Press. You can find it, of course, in this week's edition. As well, you can find a little bit more information in regard to our new health center that is being constructed as we speak right here in Neepawa. The Neepawa Health Center, a big project. We've covered it on the show so many times over the last few years, and we got a little bit of an update for you. Josh Jackson, our other reporter, was able to get a little bit of information from Prairie Mountain Health on a press release they sent out, and they're still optimistic that they are going to be handing it over to the community of Neepawa and to the region on their allotted 2026 timeline. So that's very positive to hear. If you've ever been in the hospital, the existing hospital here in Neepawa, you know they do the best they can with the space they have, but it is a little crowded. It is a little cramped. So to be able to have a facility so much larger is something everybody in town is very much looking forward to. So it's, in Casper, in my opinion, it's really good to sort of hear that you see so many projects that are sort of delayed. It's good to hear that for the most part they're still on pace.
Yes, very good to hear. I was very pleased to hear about the progress that's been being made over at this new facility. I believe it's mentioned in the story that some areas are like 60% complete, so it's coming along really well. And just looking at some of the features that this is going to have, of course, in addition to having more space, one thing that stands out, of course, is the helipad, which is going to be hopefully making things a little smoother for patients that need to be lifted via helicopter faster to other communities that will be able to provide them whatever emergency services that they'll need from outside of Neepawa too. So very, very helpful to have that, and looking forward to seeing this completed. I mean, it's a massive project and we've been keeping an eye on it for a while, so yeah.
As we shift from one project that is nearing completion, we get to go over to the exact other side of town and tell you a little bit about a project that is, well, for the most part, completed, open, and really ready to go. We're talking about, of course, the Best Western Plus, the new hotel chain that has recently opened up in Neepawa. We've covered that story so many times over the last couple years, and they've got it open. And we were able to get in there with a few local dignitaries, some of the contractors, some of the investors in the business before it opened to the general public, and get some pictures and get a little bit of information. And I got to tell you, I am genuinely impressed with what I saw in terms of the rooms, in terms of the just general layout of it, in terms of the fitness facility, although let's be honest, most fitness facilities and hotels, if you've been there, they consider it a fitness facility if they put a medicine ball and a 5-pound dumbbell down. Ooh, that's state of the art. But this one's not Grit Force. Don't get me wrong. It's not as good as Grit Force Fitness, but it's still pretty good. You'll get your sweat on if you stay in there as well. And the rooms as well, Casper. I gotta say, I was impressed. On the main floor, the rooms were friggin' huge.
Okay.
And again, the ceilings were like 12 feet high.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did notice that in one of the photos, just the ceiling height. I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of headroom. It feels so spacious.
It was so much bigger. All right, imagine where my hand is, and now go up this much further up. It was that tall. It was unbelievable. And just the whole layout of it. I was able to share some information. I got a chance to talk to Murray Parrott, who's been sort of the voice for all the investors on this through the entire process. Got some information from the general manager, and got a little bit of a story in there. And it's really interesting to see all the different things. So if you live in Neepawa, I'm not saying you should snoop, but if you want to, that's up to you. But if you want to pop your head in there and just take a look around, I'd say it's worth your time. And if you're not in Neepawa, if you watch this show from somewhere else and you're passing through our community or you want to stay here for any reason whatsoever, I would suggest that, maybe pop in and check it out yourself. Having said that, our other hotels and motels in Neepawa are still very much quality. This is not a shill for Best Western Plus. Well, it is kind of a little. It's a little bit of a shill. But now that they're open, we're not going to do that anymore. Now we're going to treat them like any other business. But it's great to see something like this establish itself in Neepawa and entrench itself. And the interesting thing as well, Casper, is it is already busy. Anytime I've passed by there, there's been like 20 or 30 cars already in the parking lot.
Yeah, it's definitely had a lot of business already. I mean, they, of course, anticipated their opening happening, and so they were already accepting bookings, if I remember correctly. So very good to see that this new location is being supported so well. And, of course, as we kind of mentioned here, very exciting to see this new establishment in Neepawa and have it completed. And, well, it just looks fantastic. I know I didn't get to go in there myself for the media tour and all that, but just seeing it from the photos alone, ooh, that's nice.
And if the photos aren't enough for you, check your local listings, check things out, because NACTV was there as well, and they were video recording the whole thing. They were able to do the tour just like we were. So check your local listings, see when it might be on in a future edition of NACTV programming, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised to see how lavish it is for a smaller community such as ours. All right, let's shift over. We're going to talk a little bit about a story that we've talked a lot about, and that is the situation with the Trans-Canada Highway near Carberry and the improvements they were planning due to the unfortunate multi-vehicle accident that claimed the lives of about 17 individuals a couple years ago. And they decided to do some safety precautions there. And they made a selection of it's been nicknamed the R-Cut concept. It's something that's been well established in the United States. It's just starting to take shape in Canada. And they decided that's what we're going to do. Except the people of Carberry were not happy with the choice. They did not like the R-Cut concept in any way, shape, or form. And boy, did they make the province know about it. There's been protests. There's been letters. There's been signatures, almost 2,000 signatures sent to the Premier's office about this, saying that this is not the way to go for the area. It does not work. It does not work for the farmers. It does not work for the truck drivers. It does not work for school buses. It does not work for Carberry. Well, it was a nice change of pace. The government heard what the people had to say and actually listened. They have totally scrapped the R-Cut concept. It's off the table. It's done. Wab Canoe had an interview, and I got to give credit where credit is due. It was with Golden West Radio, the radio affiliates based out of Winkler, Portage la Prairie, Steinbach. They have a network of radio stations throughout the prairies, and they were able to get this and Wob Canoe on one of their shows said that we are scrapping the R-Cut concept. We're starting from scratch. It doesn't work for the people of Carberry, so it doesn't work for us. And that is really nice, Casper, I thought, to hear. You know some people in this building where, they're conservative, some people are liberal and all that. But I think everybody, no matter where you are in the political spectrum, has got to be pretty impressed with the way the Premier has handled not just this, but a lot of other things over the last year.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. And this item here certainly was an interesting and pleasant development, I think. And I'm curious how things are going to develop from here. I mean, the top options that seem to be considered right now are the widened median intersection, of course, and a split intersection, which is similar to the widened median, just larger. It's about 100 meters larger. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I mean, I think this was kind of maybe unexpected that it was reversed, this decision for the R-Cut. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I mean, I know an overpass was kind of talked about, and that comes with its own pros and cons, as it were. But yeah, I think personally I was in favor more of a larger median.
Yeah. I think under the aspects of what can be done in terms of the land they have access to and the money that's been set aside, yes, as Casper said, the widened median is probably the best option. But everybody in the area definitely wants that overpass. It's expensive, though. Don't get it twisted. The safety of individuals is very important, but when it comes to government, sometimes it comes down to dollars and cents. And maybe, that is my opinion, it's not the opinion of NACTV, and it's not the opinion of the Neepawa Banner Press. Maybe the government thought, we can get away with this, it'll be the cheaper option, it'll still be safe, but it's the cheaper option. And people were not buying on that. People were not biting on that. They're pushing for the overpass. They are pushing for the most expensive option, where it's going to take, they're going to have to buy more land, they're going to have to put in more revenue or resources to make that a reality. And we're not saying it's going to be the overpass. We're saying that that's an option that's back on the table. So it's going to be very intriguing to see where this plays out from now. So this is a story that we thought was to a degree winding down, but it's not. And I'm kind of happy with it because I need something to talk about on a weekly basis. So this will keep me going here. It'll be another week or two where Ken Waddell realizes, God, Owen's just sitting there doing nothing. What's he doing? Do we need him around? Oh, God. So thank you, province of Manitoba, for ensuring my job security for at least one more week. So I'm very appreciative of that, and very appreciative that you listened to the people of Carberry and decided to change course. So if you want to find out a little bit more of that, this has been something that's been talked about all over Manitoba, and you can find it on our pages as well, on page 7 of this week's Banner and Press. Now, a story you may not be able to hear all over Manitoba is one that we're going to be talking about next, and that's the Riverbend Makers Market. It's an event that's been going on for quite some time, set up by Neepawa Tourism. It had to take a 1-year hiatus last year, but they're able to bring it back this year, and it's going to be happening this weekend. It's a huge event where all these makers, crafters, artisans are able to bring their wares and sort of sell them. There's people from all over Western Manitoba that sort of drive into Neepawa to take advantage of it. And that was the point of it. Neepawa Tourism wanted to have an event that would bring people in from other communities for a weekend or for a day. And they're very much looking forward to seeing it happen again this year. I've gone a couple times. I was the chair for Neepawa Tourism for several years when they first started up, so I know the ins and outs behind the scenes that it takes to put this together. It's a lot of work. It may look like it's pretty basic, pretty straightforward, but there is a lot of tiny, minute planning that has to go on for something like this and to make it succeed like that. So hopefully if you are in Neepawa, or hopefully if you are near Neepawa, this Saturday, you'll take a little time, come out to Neepawa, come out to the Riverbend Park, and participate in it. Because there is a lot of interesting things, Casper, that are usually a part of it in terms of the little knickknacks and whatnot.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising what you can find there. So I'd say definitely check it out, especially if you haven't gone to it yet. I'm very excited to have it back, of course, after it was on hiatus for last year. And so I hope that this year, 2025, will be very good to them.
They've done in previous years, they've done little artisan items, they've done things like painting, and they've had little things like music that have been a part of it as well. That nice little synergy between art and music and all that. Now, we might not have that at the Riverbend Market this year, but we do have something kind of similar over at Arts Forward right now. And Casper, you were able to get a little bit of those details.
Yes, I was. So very recently there was actually a artist meet and greet at Arts Forward for an exhibit that started in July and is going until August 29th. And that is Painting Music. It features art from Shannon Desjardins and Gwen Barilla, two very well-known Neepawa artists. You can see their art in and around the community. They've done some benches, I believe, for the raft, which is actually under a different name now, but see that next week. Of course, it's on display right now at Arts Forward. And sort of the thing behind this is that Shannon actually happened to be doing a painting of an eagle and had a song stuck in her head while she was doing it. Talked to Gwen Barilla about it, and she was like, hey, we should do an exhibit. And so they got the ball rolling there and coordinated things with Arts Forward, and it just kind of turned into a whole thing. So they have a gallery there full of artwork that they've made that is associated with different songs that either they had stuck in their head while they were making it, and, well, that just kind of happened to be what they thought of, or art that was inspired by the song itself. So the song came first and then the idea. And that kind of extends to a little bit of interactivity there, because they actually have QR codes there, Eoin, that you can scan with your phone to hear exactly the song that they were listening to while making this. And kind of interesting as well is there's actually some work in progress pieces that are going to be added to later that they've been working on. So it'll be neat to see how those further develop too.
It is such a unique interactive experience to have it set up that way. That's something that really Arts Forward in Neepawa hasn't had before. So it's very intriguing, and I think you'll be intrigued by it if you head on down there and see it for yourself, because we're all like that. We all get those little songs stuck in our head, but to see it turn into inspiration in terms of an artistic endeavor, now that's just taking it and going that next step. So hopefully you'll have a little bit of time to go down there. It's going to be there. I forget how long it's going to be sort of down in the displays over at Arts Forward.
Yeah, so it'll be there for until pretty much the end of August. So lots of time to pop down there. It's kind of interesting too, because they do use different mediums for their work. And their music taste is sort of different too. So you can sort of see the differences between them in different ways, which is pretty interesting as well.
All right. So you can check that out. It's going to be around for the next little while. We only got a few minutes left, so we're going to delve into these stories relatively quickly. On our sports section, we've got our Santa Clara baseball update. The playoffs have started, and Neepawa Cubs are doing very well so far. If you haven't been able to check out a game, always remember to check your local listings, because every single home game for the Neepawa Cubs is recorded and shown once again right here on NAC TV. But hopefully you'll be able to get down to the field and support them as they continue on in their playoffs. One other item that I was able to track down, Dax Turner, a young athlete that we've talked about many a time on the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. He is part of the University of Manitoba track team. He is in triple jump in terms of that competition, and very good. He is currently the second best triple jumper in Canada. He has won gold on a national level in previous years. He won silver this year. He has done so well. He is one of the members of the Canadian team that is heading over to the World University Games. They're going to be starting up shortly in Germany. In fact, 2 Neepawa residents are going to be a part of it, Dax Turner and Laura Denbo. Denbo, of course, we've talked about many a time as well in terms of her exploits in track and field. We're hoping to be able to sort of wrangle Laura and get a word with her either before or after this event as well. But we were able to round up Dax. He shared some details about his training, about what it means for him to be able to represent Canada for the very first time on a global stage in this way, and what it means for him on a personal level. He also talks a little bit about how he's changed his focus a little bit in terms of competition, not attempting to strive for perfection, but the best version of himself. And you might not think there's a difference, but in a mindset of a competitor, in the mindset of a champion, that can make all the difference. It can put added pressure on an individual if it's not focused in correctly. So he explains that a little bit to me, and I was able to put a little bit of that into this story. So hopefully you'll be able to take a little time, learn a little bit about it. I very much hope I'll be able to speak with Dax again in the future and Laura about this either before or after the competition, and hopefully share in the experience from them and be able to share it with you. All right, with only a minute left, we're just going to quickly delve into Josh did some other work. He talked about 30 years of the Lily Nook, Casper. And 30 years, geez, that's a long time. And it's, well, for you it's a long time. For me, not so much.
That's almost my entire life thus far.
Oh, jeez. I was a full-grown adult 30 years ago, and you're talking about, oh, it's almost all of my life. Oh, that hurt right here, and a little bit in the knees as well, actually. So,
couple aches and pains now. Ooh.
Yeah. But Josh has got a great story about the Lily Nook. 30 years, new owner, new location for the Lily Nook, just a little further down the way, and how they've experienced the last 30 years. So it's really great to sort of spotlight these types of local businesses from time to time and their experiences in the community and what it means to be a part of this community. So that's what we've got. There's so much more we could talk about, but that's why you got to pick up a copy of the Banner Press and see it for yourself. We've got other stories in there. We've got Helen Drysdale's recipe. We've got wonderful pictures from the Minnedosa Museum's weekend event, the day camps, all of that stuff. So if you want to find a copy of the Banner Press, always remember you can find it in 30 different locations throughout Western Manitoba. Not just Neepawa, but all around, even into Brandon. And if you're not able to find a physical copy, always remember you can find it online at neepawabanner.com. Once again, neepawabanner.com. That's about it for now. So if you have any story ideas or suggestions, always remember to get in touch with us, either by phone at 476-3401 or via news@neepawabanner.com. Once again, the email is news@neepawabanner.com. That pretty much wraps it up. Casper, thank you as always. Too bad we weren't able to get even more in-depth in there, but every half hour only has 30 minutes, so what are you going to do?
True enough, yes. And thank you once again for having me on the show this week, and always looking forward to the next one.
And again, thank you for tuning in. We're not here unless you're here, and we do always appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for picking up the Neepawa Banner Press, and we'll see you next time on The Story Behind the Stories.